Hi guys, welcome back to Alamat, where we translate and narrate Philippine myths, urban legends, and horror stories to share with the world. This week will be the final story that Ermitanyo shared with us, and this happened right after Joff finished his story. If you guys are enjoying his stories, let me know so I can ask him for some more. Apparently, he has a few more that he can share with us. Okay, let's begin. Joffrey suddenly stopped telling his story when a small stone landed near our campfire. We all observed and scanned the surroundings. Joff said that he suspects that some locals were playing pranks on us. Harold also sought the source of the stones and did not find anyone. He cracked a joke that the spirits in the mountain hurled stones at him because his story was already said many times before. Joff teasingly told me that it could be revenge of the supernatural beings because I threw a stone earlier. The mood slightly lightened up, but honestly, I felt that it was just a fruit, something that a bat or a bird accidentally dropped near us. I was thinking that this is the perfect time to pretend that I was brave to erase the blunder that I did earlier. Whoever you are, expose yourself. We are not afraid. I pounced on my chest and tied my long hair. Face me. I immediately hid behind Joff's back when another stone landed near our tent. We then looked at each other. Harold and Joff stood up and they hugged each of their legs and said, "I need a new pair of pants." I spotted a weird shadow beyond the bolete tree. I tried to show it to Harold by pointing to it, but it disappeared. Harold drew his jungle bolo and walked over to the nearest bolete tree. There was nothing there that he could see. However, I noticed the shadow moving quickly from one tree to the next, along with a succession of thunderous thumps. Joff whipped out his jungle knife and peered through the trees, but found no one as well. We decided to leave the area now that we are certain someone or something was hiding in the trees. I had a strange impression that someone was chasing us, since I could still hear faint thuds nearby. We came upon a nipa hut, which gave me instant relief. When we came inside, we found out that it had been abandoned. The floor was made of bamboo sticks that squeaked whenever we stepped on it. The nipa leaves on the roof were already loose and disorganized, allowing us to see the full moon through them. The windows were widened and some of the wall coverings had begun to break away. When Harold stepped on a weak spot, the bamboo squeaked and tore apart. He fell and his feet were trapped. Joff's initial reaction was to laugh at his best friend. He asked me to take a picture of Harold so we could use it to tease him later. I followed him by taking a picture of our leader using my smartphone. We were all laughing when I saw the shadow again. But there is something wrong with it. Maybe the perspective was playing tricks on my eyes, but for a while there, the shadow seemed human, but not quite at the same time. There it was again in the front window, accompanied by a series of loud thuds. Harold and Joff did not see the shadows, but heard the heavy thumps. So we left the abandoned hut and looked for help. We traveled for almost an hour and did not encounter anyone. All we heard was the noise of toads, crickets, and other indistinct sounds, along with the heavy thuds coming from the uncanny stranger that was following us. We then arrived at the same abandoned hut and realized that we were lost and we were going in circles. I remembered what the police told us if we would be lost, so I turned my shirt inside out. While I was doing this, Harold and Joff looked at each other and pinched my nipples. I laughed as I felt tickled, but they did it so hard that I felt pain and almost cried. After a while, Joff was breathing heavily from his mouth. He dropped to his knees to catch some air. "Go ahead. I'll catch up later," he said while pointing his fingers to the direction that we were going. "Harold, we should stop here and let him rest," I said. "No, let him rest here. We'll get help once we reach the base," Harold shot back. "Go on, pals. I'll be fine. I just need a few minutes to catch some wind," Joff quipped. With a sigh of relief, we could now see the nearest town at the base of the mountain. However, just as we were on the way out of the forest into the unpaved road, we noticed something staring at us. Sure enough, when we gazed at the area, there it was, sitting beneath a huge balete tree. A huge, dark, towering human-like figure with the head of a horse. Its eyes burned with rage as it stands with all fours. It has two abnormally long arms and two long slender legs. Surrounding its body was dark smoke with the smell of sulfur. I could even taste the acidity of the smoke surrounding its body from where I was standing. We were petrified, and I would later learn from the albularyo or faith healer that this creature is called a tikbalang. The tikbalang slowly stood on its two slender legs. It was gigantic. We were overwhelmed by its presence. I was certain that we would die at that point. Harold dropped to the floor as if his legs gave out their strength. He started muttering unintelligible nonsense that only he could hear. I was so terrified that I prayed to God to help us. But no, God wasn't listening to us that time, because he did absolutely nothing. Looking back, I would say that even God would be trembling at the sight of this creature. The tikbalang was laughing at us. It looked at me with its massive fiery eyes. "I like your long hair. You are mine," it declared, and it continued laughing. Its voice was thunderous and his words were authoritative. Harold screamed at me, "Save yourself." His eyes were blank. He was talking to me, but it's as if he wasn't really there. "Go, run." My heart sank. I was confused about what to do. Harold was known for playing all sorts of pranks, but now he was absolutely serious. The creature pointed to Harold, revealing its razor-like horseshoe. "You have no use to me. I will kill you later." It smiled menacingly. "Try to outrun me? Go." Harold did not even think twice. He grasped the nearest protruding root of a tree and used it to pull himself up. He glanced at me, signaling me to flee as he ran, falling several times on his way down the hiking trail. I was left there not knowing what to do. My will to survive completely left me. I already accepted death as the quickest way to get out of the situation. I did not notice that the creature was already in front of me. The demon horse monster clutched me in the body, which took the breath out of me. I also choked on the smoke coming from its body and lost my consciousness. I had learned long after from the investigating police officers that Harold was found in a shallow creek not far from where I fainted. He was taken to the hospital and he survived. Joff managed to get to the village even ahead of us. He did not get into any incident. I was out of my mind when I woke up. I don't even remember how I got out of the forest. All I know is when I woke up, I got up and started walking. I walked for hours, notwithstanding my swollen body. I vaguely remembered having crossed paths with some of the villagers at the foot of the mountain. Each one gasped in terror, as if they had seen a ghost. I kept walking until a village elder, who was probably called by those that I crossed paths with, approached me. He was carrying an old weathered bathroom towel and immediately covered me up. I did not realize that I was fully naked with blood oozing from my behind. That explains the look on the villagers' faces. The village elder brought me to his house. He told me that he was an albulario. An albulario is also called a spiritual healer or a faith healer. After giving me decent clothes, he took a white chicken and slit its throat, while uttering some words that appeared to be prayers in some sort of language. He also inspected the chicken bile. Without asking what happened to me, he told me we were attacked by a tikbalang. A large number of police and locals have now arrived to comb the forest to look for the culprit. Of course, they won't believe that I was attacked by a cryptid. As far as they are concerned, they were after the criminal that did this to me, and perhaps also the culprit for all the previous disappearances of the tourists. As the ambulance personnel was preparing to bring us to the hospital, the village elder whispered that it was not over. He beckoned ominously that a tikbalang would come for me again. The only way to end this is the next time when it comes to you, pluck a mane of the sharp spine from its back. The old man turned his back and entered his house as the ambulance crew secured me in the vehicle. What do you guys think of the series? If you enjoyed it and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe and to share this channel with your friends and family. If you want me to narrate your personal stories, send them over at mralamatph@gmail.com. Salamat guys, and see you in the next one.